All right, everyone, being 5:30, we'll call to order the meeting of the Fitchburg Board of Public Works for December 6th, 2021. Attending tonight in council chambers, Alder Wheeler, myself, Dave Wilborn, traffic engineer, Andrew McFadden, and we have Scott running the AV. Kim Lobdell and Michael Granetsky are via Zoom, so we have a full quorum tonight. First order on the agenda, public appearances for non-agenda items. We have none. So we'll move on to agenda item 3, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the November 15th minutes?
I so move.
Moved by Wilborn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. Any discussion, changes, additions? Okay. Seeing none, we call a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, a report from department head, and Andrew is, I believe, subbing tonight, so we'll turn it over to him.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, subbing in for.
Before you get started there, Dave?
Yes.
Sorry, we're getting a little bit of an echo every, 30 seconds or so.
Hang on, Michael. Let Scott and George ponder this a second here.
Very good, thank you.
Kim, are you hearing the same thing?
I am.
Kind of weird. Let me look right back under the hood real quick.
Thanks for mentioning it, Michael.
We can probably go ahead.
Scott believes he might have it sorted away, so Andrew, back to you.
Awesome. Yep, I am subbing in for
I
Bill.
feel like I'm at WWE or something.
Yeah, so report from the department. So, yeah, I know that Bill had kind of mentioned 3 stormwater projects that were out for bid. I will mention one of them is getting pushed back. It was originally slated to be closing on the 10th, and we'll have responses back on the 21st. With Bill being out, we just want to make sure he has time to get back and get those posted. And then that'll actually be closing on January 4th. So just a quick update on that. Otherwise, as we had a little reminder today with some snow flurries that the snow plows are ready and set to go, and this salt shed is stocked, and we're getting brine this week, so operations will be ready to go once we're needed, and luckily we haven't been needing them yet. So Pelletieri is now accepting paper cups, so in case you didn't know that already, before there was kind of that waxy film on the inside that wasn't accepting, but now they have a market for that, so they will be accepting paper cups. South Saline resurfacing, that would be south of Aurora. That shouldering and restoration work is completed. We are still working on following up on some of those driveway corrections, but that'll be ongoing between now and the spring. And just to let everybody know, the South Saline design contract will be seeking an amendment coming up here in January. We got that HISIP award for the northern portion, and we have some other changes from a scheduling standpoint, so we'll be coming back to you guys in January with that. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Andrew. That's good news about Sahin. Questions for Andrew? Kim, I see you leaning forward. Do you have one?
Nope, I was just reading the chat question.
Dave, anything?
Nothing.
Andrew, I have 2 items. One on McKee Road, the entrance to Seminole Village. I believe a resident told me the street light has been knocked down, not the signal light, but the overhead light, and said it's very dark there. It looks like there's a barrel. If you could look into that and get back to me. I told her we'd follow up to see what the status is and when we could expect to have it replaced. And a second one, I received a complaint from a resident and claiming the pavement was poor quality on South Saline Road. And I haven't looked at it enough. I'd like if you and Bill could reply to us on that. I'm not a transportation engineer like you. I don't know bituminous content and things like that. I'd like some feedback from, from our engineering department on what they see. Or
Yeah.
maybe you have an answer, you're right.
I have kind of a rough answer. So I know Tom's working with them. There was some roughness, and we're just kind of trying to figure out why that might have been the case and kind of what we can do about it. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's exactly, if it was a roughness or the edges. I think there's some concern about not using laser levels or something, which,
Yes, I saw that,
yep.
was in his email.
yeah, which I think is more frequently used on concrete roads. But I think to the point of kind of, constructability, and we can definitely circle back with that resident, and I can email you guys, so.
Do we probably have a retainage? Do we keep a retainer on there if you guys deem something is insufficient that we could request they repair it?
Yeah, if there's some specific items that don't meet our specifications, we can definitely do that.
All right. Well, I'll leave it up to you to get back to me, to respond to the resident. I mean,
Yep.
it's outside. I probably can't tell good pavement from bad, so, Kim could probably look at it and give me a better idea, but not me. All right.
Most of the time when it's the residents, it's the ride. It's not really just looking at the pavement, but it's the ride quality that bothers them the most.
That makes sense. Well, sometimes that keeps the speed down too. So, all right. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda 5 Alpha, Resolution R 230-21, authorizing a revocable occupancy permit for a pylon sign located at 3030 Fish Hatchery Road. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lobdell. This one, I think most of us have read through with the reconstruction of the road. We had to move the road right-of-way increased through that section where there's a retaining wall, and it was a sign for a business, and where it's been relocated, the top of the sign extends into the public right-of-way, but city staff has reviewed it and determined that it does not present any problems and is acceptable. And so that's what this resolution is about. Am I somewhat correct, Andrew? Okay. So does anyone have questions on this one?
Are they allowed to have it forever, or if they go to have to replace it, they gotta move it?
It is revocable. There's some conditions in there, like if it gets damaged 50% or more of its value. So we have some, conditions for which we could revoke it.
Thank you.
I would just add, this is something where I feel, the city is exercising common sense. It would be very easy to say, well, our law is our law and move the damn sign, but, this is why I live here, I think. We have reasonable people and we come to a good resolution that doesn't cost everyone a lot of money, and, we want our businesses to be viable, okay? If nothing else, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R-230-21, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Next, 5 Bravo, Resolution R 229-21, authorizing subdivision improvements for the plat of second addition to Stoner Prairie. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. Andrew, you want to add anything here before I start jabbering?
No, I just want to say this is the second and final addition to Stoner Prairie. This will finish up the subdivision. And, as are always the case, all the lien waivers have been provided. The punch list is done. So we're ready to open the street, and we're just looking for that final acceptance via this resolution.
Questions for Andrew from the board? I have one. Sure, we're not rushing to just get this done by the end of the year before the bad weather. Everything has been, I'm asking for assurance, that we took our time and looked at this. I ride my bike through here a lot looking at it, and I don't see anything, but I don't have the critical eye that the city does.
Yep, as far as I know, Tom was very thorough with the punch list, making sure everything got done, so.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. All right, with no questions, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 229-21, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, on to Resolution 5, Charlie. Resolution R 161-21, approving reimbursement of the sub-interceptor and wet well installation costs, Terra Vesa. We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Granetsky, do we have a second?
I'll second
I'll
it.
second.
Second by Wilborn. All right. Andrew, I'll let you start off on this one.
Sure. So, as part of the Terra Vesta development, the developer paid for a lift station, as well as, I lost my place. So they paid for some sanitary improvements, above which, basically the oversizing fee above which what the standard. And so now they're looking for reimbursement for that. And that is separate from kind of a follow-up, that basically all of this cost for the force main and the lift station will be passed on to this district. But basically right now, they're just looking for the oversizing cost to be covered by the city per their contract, or per their agreement.
Questions for Andrew? So I have one, on the oversizing, where oversize, is it sort of for future development of a different part of the area? And so if that area is developed, will they be assessed for this cost, back to them?
So from my understanding, the cost associated with the oversizing for the rest of this area development will be passed on as a fee for all parcels within that development. So they'll still be, them or their future builders will still be paying for a small portion of this, but the actual oversizing specific will be passed on to the whole assessment area.
Then a second question for the really bored people that are watching on Fact. Can you explain what the wet well is?
Oh, boy. That, from my understanding, both the wet well, I think, the wet well and the force main kind of collectively, so basically a lot of different pipes come into the wet well. The force main pushes it up to an interceptor kind of northeast of this property to get it into the gravity-fed interceptor to go up to MFC. So from my understanding, it's basically just a kind of large manhole that collects it all there.
Is it storage, has a certain amount of volume that if our lift isn't working, that it has a certain amount of capacity there?
That's a good question. I'm not
I
sure.
expect it does. Anyone on the board, you have a better sense of that? I think this is what was described. We had the gentleman that is the supervisor, or the superintendent of the Madison Met, and he was talking about every so often they have to go in these areas and they have to go down and clean them out. And I think that was a wet well similar to this that you, sounds like a nasty thing, but well, I've talked up. Any other questions on this? What is the total amount that we are reimbursing on this?
From my understanding, I believe it's in the order of 181,000 or
Okay.
181,000.
All right. All right. With nothing else, I'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 161-21, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, announcements. Our next Board of Public Works is January 3rd. We don't need a meeting on the 20th. Does that sound right? We're not planning one on the 20th?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Then on to agenda item 7. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Wilborn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.